Hello everyone, you're very welcome along to tonight's Between the Lines. I am of course your host Craig, and I'm joined by Connor and by Dave. And look, we're here to talk about Liverpool, Connor, but first and foremost we've got to react to England winning a penalty shootout. I mean, it's historic news.
It's just mad, isn't it? Is that the first win since 1996, I think?
It's the first one in World Cup history ever. I mean, they won a Euro. They won a penalty shootout in the Euros, but they've never won a penalty shootout in the World Cup.
Fucking hell. And Eric Dyer, of all people, scored the last one.
Who would have thought that a goalkeeper with tiny little arms could make such a good save?
Oh, it was brilliant, wasn't it, in fairness to him? I know he's inevitable.
It really
You have to
was.
say,
It was a
fair
great
play.
save. Yeah, no, it was top notch. Dave, how did you find it? Nervous? Not giving a shit?
No, I did. I did give a shit. I was actually wanting England to win because about 15 minutes gone in the game, I just had enough of fucking the shite. Because I hate pulling and dragging and headbutting and all that bullshit. Like, just play the fucking game and just stop being cunts. So that's why I was delighted for England. I know Southgate looks like a bit of a Tory, but I think he seems like an alright guy. Do you know what I mean? But it had to be Henderson that missed it. I was gutted with that.
Yeah, I have
Gutted.
to say I agree 100% about Southgate. He's completely won me over. The way he's
Yeah.
handled this England team, the way he's handled the media, the way he's made the team available to the media, it's been very refreshing to see, and to see that the players that were taking those first couple of penalties, Dave, I'm talking about Harry Kane and particularly Rashford, like they knew what they were doing. They had drilled that through their head. They were stunning penalty kicks.
Yeah, there was no keeper saving them. Perfect down bottom. No keepers touching them, and there was good bit of venom on them as well. Like, you know what I mean? So they fizzed in, but fair play, good side stones and the lads to step up in that situation, because look, England and World Cups and penalties don't really go together. Yeah, that's their first one ever. Fair play to them. Look, I really do. Well, they are going far in it, but I hope they can beat Sweden. To be honest with you, I like seeing them go further in this World Cup.
Just turning to the chat, I see Ben is in, Lalu's in, the Junior's in, Mr. Bugsire, who else have we got? Luke is in. Good evening to you all. Thomas, thank you for joining. Connor, let's just get straight into Liverpool. Look, if the lads want to get back to England in a bit in the chat, by all means we can get back to England. But this goalkeeper situation, and we seen something pop out today in the Twitter hemisphere. I think it was, if I remember correctly, it was Peter Phillips that originally said something about a goalkeeper coming in, and then once Graham Kelly got involved, everything went through the fucking roof.
Yeah, it was just one or two tweets, wasn't it? Just completely set one off. So it's crazy.
I think it was Peter Phillips. If I remember correctly, it was Peter Phillips that was the first
who is
one with
that?
it. He is the guy that runs the... Oh, let me just... I can never remember... Copcast? Bear with me. I can never remember. The
What's like
Cop
the
Table
Cop Table,
podcast.
is it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
excuse
I've
me.
seen that actually.
The Cop Table podcast. A really nice guy, really sound guy. Not an ITK, not somebody that would generally post bullshit rumours and bullshit links. But is somebody that's been in at LFC TV a couple of times. Does have good info in and around the club. I haven't been able to get out of him as of yet who the hell the keeper is, because I have been trying to message him, but he hasn't read the message just yet. Any ideas, Connor? Anything you've seen floating around?
It was all citizen talk, wasn't it? But then obviously James Pearce came out and rubbished that, so I honestly have no idea. I have a feeling it might be Strakosha, but that's just a good feeling.
Dave, it is tough to say. The Citizen rumours were gathering pace quickly, very quickly, in fact. But then Jimmy Pearce comes out and plays the not happening card.
Yeah, he done that with Fekir though. He was so confident that it would happen, and he done all this. Like, Pearce out of, let's say, Joyce, Reddy, he'd probably be the bottom of the food chain for me there. I'd have Reddy and Joyce ahead of him, and even Chris Bascom. There is a goalkeeper coming, because I don't think Danny Ward's going to have another season in the under-23s. I think he wants first-team football. I'd say Mignolet is dust, and Gianluigi Bogdan is gone to Hibs. So yeah, there is a goalkeeper coming in.
I read somewhere actually that Bogdan hasn't started the game for Liverpool since May 2016.
Jesus Christ.
How much has he made in that time?
I don't know. I'd imagine he's probably on somewhere around 30 or 40 grand a week at a guess.
Jesus Christ.
No, I don't think he's on that much. I thought I read he was on about 12 or 15 or something like that. I could be wrong, but he's not a huge earner, no.
So still like 750 grand a year for basically just going to train.
Exactly, yeah. basically going to training and just being taking the piss out of you.
And letting his hair grow ridiculously long and looking like somebody out of the 118 ads.
Oh, he looks like a ginger Yessie.
It really is. Look, we'll get into the goalkeeper situation a little bit more. I have done a little bit of research in regards to contracts and stuff like that, and the lengths that are left on players' contracts, because I suppose we do need to take these things into account. But if I'm just looking through the chat here, the junior thinks the keeper is Donnarumma, or like you, Connor, he also thinks Strakosha. Mr. Bugsar said, "Are you feeling better tonight?" I am, mate. Thank you very much. I don't know what came over me last night when I was speaking to Connor afterwards, and we suddenly were back and forth chatting. And then I remembered, shit, you know what? I haven't eaten. So that was probably what was wrong with me yesterday. Haven't eaten, and then when you take some medicine on top of that, you know yourself, it can go all over the place. But thank you for the question. Luke says, "Who do you personally think it is?" Do you know what? This is a really horrible thing to say, but I think both Connor and the junior might have it nailed there. I think it may be either Sillison or somebody like Strakosha. One thing we did see, Connor, I think Graham Kelly said this, is people are going to wish it was Jack Butland when they see who it is.
Yeah, that's making me wonder, is it that young Shamrock Rovers keeper? Is he just playing it up for a bit of attention, maybe? Like maybe he's assigned to the academy, he's just making out that's a bigger deal than it actually is.
I think for James Pearce to come out so quickly and say it's not Sillison, that kind of almost lets me know that they are working on a goalkeeper.
Yeah, there's definitely something happening. Yeah, whether that's Donnarumma, now that Reina's in the AC Milan, he could be available, so it might be him. Who knows?
I've been banging this Donnarumma drum for quite a while now, Dave, in regard as like a backup option to obviously Alisson or Oblak, who's everybody's wet dream for a goalkeeper. But it makes sense that somebody should try and sign him. So if we break this down, right, if we really look at what's going on with the goalkeeper situation, it all starts with Thibaut Courtois. He's got 1 year left on his Chelsea contract and he wants out. He wants Madrid. He's made no secret of that whatsoever. So if we allow him to get his move to Real Madrid, which of course would suit Real Madrid because they don't have to shell out as much as they would for Alisson, who's, you know, got 4 years or something left on his contract. So yeah, if we take that as a gimme, that Courtois moves over to Real Madrid, so that then means that Navas is going to want to move on. It means Oblak is most likely to stay where he is. Chelsea are in the market for a goalkeeper then, possibly looking to chase Alisson, Sillison and anybody else who's available. So the keepers that are available, Dave, seem to be Gianluigi Donnarumma, possibly Navas, and definitely Courtois, but we're saying he's going to Madrid. So what's your take on this situation? Am I just clutching at straws here, and am I going to see Karius striding out with long blonde hair the first game of the season?
Yeah, look, I think the thing with Karius is, while I don't kind of doubt his ability to a certain extent, he's just going to get so much grief, even for not even from away fans, but even, look, you know, and I know, I've sat in the cup many a time, that if a player hasn't got a bit of stock and make a mess of things, the cup quickly turn on them as well. The keepers that you mentioned there, you look at Sillison, he's not happy being Ter Stegen's number 2, and he wants that. He wants to cement the Dutch number 1 place as well. I'm still going back to Oblak. He's still stalling on a new deal. Now, I know nothing. I'm just, as the pod said, reading between the lines here and putting 2 and 2 together. But Oblak is stalling on a new deal. So that tells me that there's something happening there. As you said, Courtois, he's nailed on to go back to Madrid, whether that be Atletico again, where he has history, or Real. If he goes, Navas is gone. Alisson, I can't see moving anywhere. I personally, from what I've seen in the World Cup, Alisson is not worth 70 million. I don't care what anyone says. I don't know too much about the Lazio Strakosha. I don't know too much about him, to be honest with you. All I think is there's definitely going to be a new keeper coming in. Donnarumma, I do think with Donnarumma that we would need the likes of Buffon to come in as well. Buffon for maybe a year to 6 months with Donnarumma there coming in as well.
Well, Buffon's off to PSG. That's getting confirmed this week. I read that yesterday.
Is that done? Yeah. Okay. Well, rule him out then. Donnarumma comes with, even though he's 19. The last time I watched Donnarumma play was when they played AC Milan played Juventus, and he was horrific. He was absolutely horrific. And I don't think Liverpool, at the stage we're at now, we're in such a good place. We're pushing on. If we want to push on again, if we want to kind of challenge Donnarumma, I don't think can be our number one goalkeeper next season.
It's a tough one to judge any goalkeeper who, as the junior says here in the chat, is 19, and he reckons that Milan value him in around 50 million, which with the trouble they're in probably means 35 if somebody was to go in and put the cash on the table. So I think that Donnarumma might actually suit the Premier League in a strange way. Obviously, look, his height is, he's going to be commanding in the box. He's going to have to be. I mean, with that frame, you'd have to be commanding in your box. The only question for me then would be, would he be good enough with his feet? And the honest answer is probably not, from what I've seen. Connor, have you seen much of Gianluigi Donnarumma?
No, just bits and pieces. But like I wonder, like you said, we're trying to push on. Is a 19-year-old goalkeeper really what we need?
Yeah, I can understand that as well.
Like you see, Carey is cracking under the pressure in the final. Like I can't imagine a 19-year-old is going to be much better. Like
Kevin Smith in the chat says, we'll see Liverpool start with Loris Karius at the start of the season. He's sure of it. Forget about Liverpool buying a goalkeeper this window. We'll wait till next year. It's a big call, Dave, by Jurgen Klopp, if that is the case, if he does stick by Karius. And look, we can understand him sticking by players. He's done it before, but this is almost a very different situation. There's very high profile fuck-ups after happening here. So if he does stick with Loris Karius, it's probably the biggest gamble so far of his Liverpool management career.
Yeah, it would be. But no, I'm 99.9% sure a new goalkeeper will come in. As I said, Mignolet is gone. He's as good as gone anyway. Danny Ward, as I said, he is not going to be happy after kind of getting the experience with Huddersfield, getting them promoted with them. He's not going to be happy being playing in the under-23s. That leaves us with Karius then, and you're looking at probably what you call him. I have Queeveen Kelleher from the under-23s or Kamal Gabara, who aren't ready, or Shamal George, but they're not ready for first-team football. So there is a goalkeeper coming in. It's just who is it? Hopefully it's not that lad from... Well, are we hijacking that United bid for what you call him, Grant from Stoke?
Well, Connor tried to wind me up with that earlier on, by the way, and tried to say that it's your man from Stoke. Just looking in the chat, Evan Guest says he doesn't think Real Madrid favour Courtois over Alisson. Maybe it's Courtois' first preference, but he doesn't think that it's Real Madrid. I suppose, Evan, the reason I think, and from again just from things I've read, is they favour the deal for Courtois financially, obviously, because he's got 1 year left on his contract with Chelsea, and they can probably get him out of there for half the price they may have to pay for Alisson. And it looks like Real Madrid have to do a little bit of rebuilding this summer. And Connor, you mentioned something to me earlier on about Real Madrid and one particular player that that was absolutely nuts, and if it happens, would just blow the whole transfer window wide open.
yeah, Ronaldo to Juventus apparently, €100 million transfer fee, €30 million salary per year, 4-year deal I think was.
What do you think of that, Dave?
Imagine the scenes of that.
Cristiano Ronaldo off to Juventus for 100 million and 30 million a year, and Emre Can going, shit, I should have asked for more money.
Jesus Christ. What's Ronaldo now? Is he 33?
34, I think.
34, fucking hell. 100 million on a 34 whose legs... Oh, man, he's...
And 120 million in wages, Dave. Don't forget about that.
Yeah, I wonder how much years are left in them legs. You know, there's a lot of mileage on Ronaldo's legs.
Maybe we need to revisit Bogdan here, if he's only on 750 grand a year.
Oh, God, it's a risky move. I thought Ronaldo would end up at the likes of PSG, if I'm honest with you. Kind of... You know, Ronaldo will be able to cut it in the French league for maybe 3 or 4 more years, whereas the Italian league it is a step up. But look, I'm not a fan of Juventus. Fuck them if they want to sign Ronaldo. Good luck to them, because I don't think he's worth next or near that money now.
I suppose I can understand why they do it from a financial aspect. I mean, the dude's gonna sell shirts and he's gonna sell merchandise. Junior thinks Cillison is 29, and would we buy a 29-year-old Connor, especially at 30 million? He'd rather spend 50 on Donnarumma. 29 for a keeper though, Connor, isn't, it's probably like a 24, 25-year-old outfield player.
Yeah, it's in or around the peak really, isn't it? Like 29 to maybe 32 or 3. Like some keepers play to near 40, so I wouldn't mind 29-year-old. 30 million, if he's going to be first choice, it's not an awful lot amount to pay compared to like 80, 90 we were quoted for Alisson and Oblak, so I wouldn't see that as a problem for Liverpool.
Dave, do you think that we're sometimes a little bit too harsh towards FSG with regard to this whole buying players they can develop and sell on? Some people seem to be ruling out the possibility of signing a 29-year-old just because of his age.
I think the FSG model is working to an absolute certain extent. Look, I don't think FSG are afraid of spending money. To be honest with you, I think Klopp has the full trust of FSG. I think once Edwards and Klopp, I think they work very well together. Kind of spot a player, and they really kind of do their homework on him. They're very confident they can get him, and they don't mind splashing the cash on him. Like going back to Allback, I just look. Of course, it's not my money, and look, I don't think we will be signing him. Look, if I was Klopp, and I'm not educated enough to tell Klopp what to do, but why not go in with the 89 million and activate the release clause and see then, or maybe they have done. This is what, like, we don't know what's going on. Fair play, Liverpool are good at their transfers. We're keeping it quiet, but activate the release clause. See what All Black would say if a contract is put in front of him, and kind of the, I use inverted commas, the project was put in front of him, what they expect, and it'd be interesting to see. But going back to Donnarumma, I wonder if it is him. I heard a whisper as well today we will be going in for Bonucci, because Bonucci wants out of AC Milan now, especially with the no European football. And Bonucci, again, what is he? He's 29, 30, but he'd be a hell of a centre-back to bring in. I'd love to see him at Liverpool. I really do rate him.
I'm just thinking through here. I'm just reading some of the comments in the chat as well. We've seen Liverpool come out and say that they don't expect any business to be done. And I'm talking to you guys in the chat here when I say this. We see Liverpool come out and say they're not really expecting to do any business during the World Cup. The majority of their business will be done after the World Cup. I get a feeling that this is them kind of pointing one way and running the other way, and kind of trying to put everybody off track. What do you guys in the chat think? Do you think there's something being worked on at this moment in time for a goalkeeper? Do you think that we're going to see something announced over the next couple of days, and that the club are kind of just sending people off one way, as I said, and running the other? Connor, what's your honest feeling on this one?
I think most of it probably is happening behind the scenes still, getting stuff ready for when players drop out of the World Cup. Be interesting to see what happens with Shaqiri now that he's out. Well, that might be announced next day or two. Fekir obviously still waiting for France to drop out. Alisson as well, if we are in for him still, have to wait for Brazil. Like, I'd say, I doubt we're just standing idly by. I'm sure Michael Edwards and his laptop are very busy at the minute still.
Munayin doesn't think we're interested in signing the keeper either. Just reading through a few more things in the chat. Mark says Karius is a £4 million goalkeeper, just like we paid for him. Donnarumma is 1,000,000 times better. Thomas Boland says, I was expecting to see Ronaldo over here in the Players Retirement League, that is the MLS. I don't think the MLS could afford Ronaldo, Dave, especially for the wages. Even at his age, he'd be commanding.
No, and the only other plausible place is maybe China, but in China they have 100% tax on people outside, players coming outside from China, let's say, not a Chinese national, so I can't see him going there.
Yeah, that tax is reinvested, isn't it, into the grassroots football in China.
Yeah, which is brilliant, fair play. It's absolutely brilliant. It's a great idea, because they were just spunking away stupid money on stupid players. Like Tevez went out, what was he getting, 675 grand a week?
And he couldn't even fucking finish a training session.
That's right, yeah. He just went out there to set himself up and his family, which is, look, fair enough. I just think, going back to the transfers and what we're doing, we had this on the pod. There's a huge amount of work that goes on behind the scenes. And as we said as well on Sunday's pod, Liverpool are looking at players not only like just for this window, but they're looking at players for January who they can get. We know that Fekir was sounded out last season and told, look, he's not available. The season just gone, come back again, which we did. So I think, Fabiano, the work was done on Fabiano in February, wasn't it, or something like that, from what we were led to believe. So
yeah, they said that when everybody was they said that when they were started looking to buy Lamar at the time, that for some reason when that broke down, that Fabinho was the next one that they started working on, and the club said that they've been working on him since February. So yeah, you're spot on there.
Yeah. So I think if it was Cillessen, would a deal be done by now? Because obviously the Dutch weren't at the World Cup. If it was Donnarumma, the Italians weren't at the World Cup. So, Christ, I don't know. I honestly don't know. You could name off 20 goalkeepers, and it could be any one of them. And that's the great thing about it as well, is Liverpool are playing their cards so close to their chest. they're not giving away any information. That it's going to come. Look, it could come. It's going to come as a surprise. I don't know if it's going to be a nice one or a horrible one. We'll soon see.
Damo said he wants us to get a huge imposing keeper with a massive wingspan and hands like shovels, although those characteristics didn't really work with David James, which is a fair shout. They didn't really.
Yeah. No, they didn't. Like, and I'll go back to the pod again on Sunday when we were talking about Pepe Reina. Or was it Sunday who mentioned Pepe Reina that he was in the wrong club or the wrong place at the wrong time, and if he was Liverpool's goalkeeper
I think it was Chris. I think.
Yeah, that's right. Sorry, yeah, that was such a good shout. If Pepe Reina was in the Liverpool team now with his distribution and what he could do with that back line in front of him, it'd be amazing.
I forgot to say to everybody, tonight's show is in fact sponsored by our brand new sponsor, Diet Chav. Connor, bit of breaking news there. Diet Chav now sponsoring our nightly Between the Lines stream.
Yeah, it's great to have him on board, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Free cans of Diet Chav every time we're on. And look, we won't talk money because it's rude. It's not right to talk money. But Diet Chav, the official sponsor of the Between the Lines stream.
For every like, Craig gets another can.
Yeah, there you go.
Bogdan money now or Tevez money?
Somewhere in between, Dave. Somewhere in between. There's even talk of a free T-shirt at some point. I mean, that's the levels we're at, buddy. That's the levels we're playing at. As I said before, if you are enjoying the chat, please do give us a thumbs up. If you're new to the stream, you're enjoying the stream, please hit that subscribe button. Help us grow the channel. I see Donald Trump is in again tonight, Connor.
Oh, big old Donald back. What's he saying?
He's just saying hello at this moment in time. We haven't got into foreign policy yet.
Just please don't do anything stupid. Don't press the button.
They don't press the button. Kim Jong-un is not a nice man as well. Although that's probably me get killed now. I'd probably be poisoned with something now. Me Diet Chav would be poisoned.
That's what happened to you the last night, was it, when you were sick?
Yeah, I fought it off though. Irish stomach,
Good man.
Just going to the chat again. The junior thinks we're working on Fekir and a keeper and have Shaqiri done. Well, talking about Shaqiri, Dave, he is now finished. He will be heading home from the World Cup. Obviously, he'll have to go on his jolly bobs, but if a deal is to be done for Shaqiri, it will probably move fairly quickly.
Yeah, and look, for the money we're talking about as well, it could be a very shrewd bit of business. What is it, 12 million? But yeah, look, anyone, I suppose it's from when the team is eliminated, you're talking they're on holidays then for 3 weeks. Even though a deal could be done relatively quickly, he's still not going to be at Melwood, let's say 3 weeks' time is what, the 24th of July. So
yeah, that's a fair shout. Evan in the chat suggests Suso was a backup number 10. And Connor, was it yourself that was telling me before you read an interview with Suso that he kind of felt like he had unfinished business?
Yeah, he said he was open to coming back to Liverpool, I think, so it could happen. Obviously a brilliant player, and maybe we shouldn't have let him go, but he wasn't that good at the time. I don't think it'll be as bad as a Paul Pogba situation if we were to buy him back. Like, I don't think we'd have to pay that much for him. But yeah, he could be a decent option.
I see a lot of people still showing a lot of love, Dave, to Moses Simon, the guy we were linked with a few weeks back. I think a lot of people have, by the looks of it, have really looked into this kid and seem to like what they've seen.
Is that Moses the daddy, yeah?
Daddy, yeah. Moses Daddy, sponsored by Diet Chav. Maybe we can get Shaqiri on the Diet Chav, actually.
That's beautiful. Moses Simon, yeah. Look, I don't know too much about him, but if he's like the other fella who went the exact same direction to Leverkusen, we'd be paying a lot of money for him maybe in 2 years' time. So, yeah.
We spoke about Hendo before we came on the stream, and I see a couple of people in the chat mentioned how relieved they were that England got through on that penalty shootout because, of course, Jordan Henderson missed his, and Conor, he never looked like he was going to score it when he was walking up.
No, I instantly thought he wasn't going to score, and yeah, like, thankfully that didn't mess it up in the end. Imagine him coming back to Melwood after fucking up and putting England out. Can't imagine his morale will be very high, but yeah, at least they got through now. Took a bit of weight off his shoulders.
Do you know what? It wasn't actually that bad a penalty.
No, it was a really good save, to be fair. Like, it was fairly in the corner. So fair play to Ospina. He's really good on penalties, to be fair to him.
Dave, looking at both the goalkeepers involved in that penalty shootout, it's probably, as a set, the smallest set of goalkeepers I've seen.
Yeah, Butland, we have a little joke. He is like a T-Rex. His arms are tiny.
They are, but they got a very strong. He got a very strong left arm to that penalty.
Pickford, should I say, not Butland. Pickford. Yeah,
They're all the same, Dave. All these English keepers, for God's sake, they're all the same. Everton, Stoke.
No, it was a great penalty save because he was always going to his right as well, and it looked like he was just beaten, but he got a few inches on it. Fair play, and no, it was a good save. But I don't know, like it was the first time in a long time, or probably ever, I've wanted England to win that much. So I was delighted for them.
We're down to the last 8 now, gents. Who do you see coming through both sides of the draw? And Connor, I'll come to you first. Obviously, on England's side, England up against Sweden in their quarterfinal, and then it's Croatia against, I can't remember who Croatia against in Russia in the other semi-final. So who are you expecting to come through that side of the draw?
It's really tough, isn't it? Because they're all fairly even level teams.
I'll give you a hint. The correct answer here is Croatia.
Croatia should be getting through, but you just don't know. Like, you look at all the teams that have been knocked out so far, you wouldn't have expected to have. I'd love to see someone like Sweden or Russia get to it.
You know what though, Dave? England have a very good record against Croatia, and with the style of play that Croatia play, I think that would suit England down to the ground, and that would be a very Premier League type game.
I think that, look, let's talk about Sweden first before they can jump the gun, because Sweden won't be no pushovers either. Sweden are growing into this tournament by the day.
Probably one of the best defences in the tournament.
Yeah, and I tell you what, the lad we were linked with as well, Emil Forsberg, he had a very good game again today. I don't know. I think there's 3 stronger teams in England left in this World Cup, and that'd be Brazil, France, and Croatia.
Sticking on England's side first, though, you're seeing Croatia as the strongest side in that?
I do, yeah. I see. Croatia is the strongest side. I can see England beating Sweden. There won't be much in it. The only thing I worried about if I was England is that extra time would have taken a hell of a lot out of them, and they have what? When's their quarter final? Is it Sunday?
They probably will be the last one, wouldn't they? Like they were now.
No, I think that the first one on Sunday. I think it's Friday
afternoon.
I
think, isn't it Friday? The first quarterfinals start.
What was it? Friday.
Yeah, I think Brazil. There's 2 in one day. One at 3 and one at 7. I think. So probably Saturday then.
There you go. There's not much rest time between
that
now.
Saturday 3 o'clock.
Saturday 3, is it? Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, right in the heat as well.
Yeah. See, I wouldn't worry about if Sweden are playing in the heat as well. But that would have taken a lot out of them. A hell of a lot out of them now, in fairness. So.
And Connor, looking towards the other side of the draw, there's a tasty game in prospect there between Brazil and Belgium, who left it late, but they showed tremendous balls to pull back from 2-0 down to beat Japan 3-2.
Yeah, Roberto Martinez making me eat my words. I thought he was after completely fucking it up, and he brings on Fellaini and Chadley, and they both score and win the game. So what do I know?
I don't think you were alone, to be fair. I've seen much more educated people than us in football saying the very same thing when they came on.
Exactly, yeah. But, so it's going to be really tough to call, isn't it? Even the other game, Uruguay-France, like Uruguay have looked so solid, and they have Cavani and Suarez up front, so they're well capable of scoring goals. France, probably the best squad on paper. Brazil, just a very good team, probably should be winning it. Belgium, kind of that. I suppose they've a lot to prove still, don't they? Like, they've such a good squad, but never actually done much. So it's really tough to call. My money would be on Brazil, I'd say, to go on and win the whole thing.
Are we underestimating Brazil's defence, by the way? Because they've conceded, I think, 1 goal in this tournament so far, which should have been chalked off.
Yeah, it's strange, because they have looked very solid. And is it Chiche, is the mother's name, isn't it?
Chiche, which it depends how brave you are.
Like, he's kind of more renowned to be more of an attacking manager compared to Dunga when he was there, and yet they've looked way more solid defensively since he came in, which is strange. I think he's still an idiot though. He needs to be playing Firmino up front.
So on that side, you're fancying Brazil to get through that side?
I'd say Brazil, yeah. I'd love to see like France, obviously, because I have them in the sweepstakes. I'm still hoping they pull something out, but yeah, I'd say Brazil.
Dave, looking at that, and look, we will get back to Liverpool, folks, so just bear with us. I just understand that there are some England fans in the chat who want to celebrate, and rightly so. Their team got through tonight, and congratulations to them. Looking at that France-Uruguay game, I can smell a red card there.
Oh, God, yeah. Absolutely. But Uruguay, they didn't concede in the group stages at all. They look really solid in the back. I'd fancy Uruguay. To beat France. I don't know why. I think they're a more organised team. I think when push comes to shove, they can really slow a game down. Godin has just been phenomenal in this World Cup, and Suarez. I think there's another couple of gears left to go on Suarez as well. But you know who's really stuck out for me, because I didn't know him before the World Cup, is their left back, the one who looks like a 12-year-old lesbian.
Well, Laxalt.
That's the fella. Yeah. He looks like a hell of a player. I don't know who he plays for. I haven't done any homework on him. I've just been really impressed with him this World Cup so far.
I don't know how he looks in the mirror and thinks, I'm looking good. I am looking good with this hair.
How could anyone think that? Like, maybe I'm just getting old, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's not a white man's haircut, to be fair to him.
It's not, no. It's not. You couldn't pull it off.
Getting back, I suppose, lads, getting back to Liverpool here and looking through the chat. Imran is in. He never lets me down, Connor. Every night he's straight in with the Oblak, Trent, Virgil, Alderweireld. Alderweireld's been added in. Whoa, let's relax here. Robertson, Fabinho, Caden, Nabil, Mane, Salah, Firmino. Alderweireld seems to have popped into the chat, Connor. Am I missing out on something here?
I haven't heard anything about him now. I think we were in for him last summer, there was rumours, but I haven't heard anything recently, so maybe I'm missing some.
Do you know what his contract situation is, Dave? I know there was talk about him moving on this summer from Spurs. He's got, actually, if I'm correct, he's 1 year left, but Spurs have an option to extend that by 1 more year.
That's what I'm left to believe as well. So if he has 1 year left, he can't start talking to Premier League clubs until, he has 6 months left in his contract, but for continental clubs outside the Premier League, he can talk to them now. But I think Spurs, with the new stadium, I think there's going to be a lot more outs than there is ins there, because what do their stadium cost? 750 million quid. It's a lot of money for a club like Spurs. I know they're in the Champions League now and all that, and they've kind of solidified their place in the Champions League, but
haven't they been backed to an extent though with some NFL money as well for the stadium?
They have, but it's not going to be like you're talking. The NFL money is maybe a decent player that they might sign or sell. So they're going to, like, obviously they're going to be prostituting themselves with naming rights and different things like that. But the way Mr. Levy operates, I think there's going to be, as I said, more outs than there is ins at Spurs. And what we're led to believe, Alderweireld is looking to get on his way out, but we're not going to hear anything until Belgium are gone, which could again be, it could be the next round, or it could be they could go all the way to the final. I don't know, but I can't see him being a Liverpool player, to be honest with you.
I'm just looking through the chat, Connor, and it seems to have turned to an extent that people that the guys don't want to come in. So Joseph says he doesn't want that Barcelona keeper. He's only played 8 matches in 2 years, and for that money, there's better out there. And then Sniper Jules has said he doesn't want Shaqiri. Being a star in a relegation team is not enough to be a class act. Better to sign a younger and talented player that has some chances to develop to world class. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I can see where he's coming from. I wouldn't agree fully. I'd say I'd rather Shaqiri, since kind of Premier League proven. The only thing I'd worry about Shaqiri is his work rate. Like, he looked very was lethargic there today, didn't he? He didn't really do a lot of running. It wasn't really closing down, especially like they were chasing the game towards the end, and he still looked no different from when it was the second minute. That's the only thing I'd worry about on his points. I wouldn't worry about bringing someone younger or anything that way.
If I look at him, I think that immediately if he joins Liverpool Football Club, Connor, he's sitting down with the sports science team and they're telling him to lose 5-7 pound of muscle.
Yeah, they probably are, to be fair. Like the legend Brian Kerr said, he's a chunky little fella, so he'd want to lose a bit of weight, I suppose.
And the other legend, Damien Dove, said he's probably one of those people that just look at a weight and put on muscle.
Yeah, probably.
I'm seeing here in the chat as well, Dave, something interesting. Mark says, plot twist, Barca see how good Henderson has been this World Cup and they offer 50 million. But what they have actually done is they have offered 50 million for Willian, by the looks of things.
Yeah, I've seen that. I can't see Barcelona taking any more players when they owe us what? Christ, it must be close to 150 million still between Suarez and Coutinho.
Oh no, they're definitely not coming in for Hendo, but looking at the Willian situation, it's probably a fair figure for him, I'd say.
I think it's a bit too much, to be honest, because he's pushing 30 now, if he's not 30 already. Maybe the listeners can help us. But no, I don't. Well, see, this is the thing. 50 million, fucking hell, it's so much money. But when you're talking about transfers and these things, it's just 50 million is just a drop in the ocean now. It's ridiculous the way football's gone money wise, but you know, that's the world we live in. Would you put it this way? Would you sign William for 50 million for Liverpool?
Probably not, to be fair. I would have signed him without a shadow of a doubt 2 or 3 years ago. And I do think he's an extremely good footballer. I just get where you're coming from with the age thing.
Yeah, that's the thing. If Liverpool, if Liverpool want to be taken seriously, I'm not saying we're at Barcelona level yet, but if we want to get there and if we want to be challenging on all fronts, when we go out and sign a player, or when Barcelona or Real Madrid or even Bayern Munich or City go out and sign a player, if you turn around to you say to yourself, I wouldn't fancy him, I wouldn't think he'd do a job for us, well, you're kind of answering your own question then. That's why, I think there's a lot better options for him there. But I think Shaqiri, I think for the money you can get him at, the question regarding, because he was at Stoke in a relegated team, I have 2 words, and them 2 words are Andrew Robertson. Look at the player he's turned out to be.
Wijnaldum, though.
Gini Wijnaldum with Newcastle, exactly, yeah.
You know what, guys? When I look at Xherdan Shaqiri, and I think we all agree that he at times doesn't get into games as much as he should. But one thing I would say about him is if we're bringing him on with, say, 20-25 minutes to go, he is able to play a ball around the back of a defence, or to the far post. How many times have we seen Bobby Firmino, Mo Salah, Sadio Mane coming in on those late runs to the back post? And that's exactly what Coutinho used to do in those situations.
Yeah, it's that kind of clipped ball into the back post, isn't it? Like, we've been missing that since Coutinho left, like you said. So yeah, Shaqiri could open up defences that way, and he's good with long shots as well, and that's something we're kind of lacking at the minute since Coutinho left. I know Firmino and Salah are capable of it, but not to the same extent that Coutinho or Shaqiri are. Like,
yeah.
Dave Escapado says that they could just sell Harry Kane and pay off half the stadium.
They probably would. And his stock is certainly on the rise as well. 2 fantastic penalties tonight. Credit to him. As I said, I don't like him. He looks like someone from Spitting Image, but he's a hell of a centre forward. In fairness, he's absolutely brilliant.
And to come up through your youth system as well. Yeah,
come up through a youth system. He was on. I don't know where he was on loan at as well. He had a couple of loan spells away, and made his debut in the UEFA, the Europa League. And he's just cemented his place. He hasn't given it up. Yeah, he made a dickhead of himself with the Eriksen goal, but you can't question the guy's, his attitude to the game. He's an absolute born winner. He wants everything, and you can't, as I said, you can't take that away from him. And I'd love to see him in a red jersey for Liverpool, but look, that's not going to happen. He's a sensational centre forward.
Yeah, I really do have a begrudging respect for Harry Kane. Don't like him for some of the stuff he does, but if we're talking about purely on a football field, he is up there with some of the best around at the moment. He just is an out and out goal poacher, Connor, isn't he? Like, he just knows where the net is.
It's the only thing he does know, yeah. It's just putting the ball in the back of the net. That's all you really need to do. Like, you see, his record with Spurs and with England are fantastic. Like, I think isn't he actually on course to beat Shearer's record at this stage for the top scorer in the Premier League ever?
He probably is, actually, yeah. What's
25, 30 goals a season, like.
Yeah, Shearer's 260...
263 or something like that, I think.
Something like that, yeah. He is, yeah. He's well on course to do that.
Ray in the chat said exactly what you did, Dave. Robertson came from a relegated team where he was a standout player, so I wouldn't worry about Shaqiri coming in.
No, and the thing with Shaqiri as well, he's got 60 odd caps for for Switzerland. He played over 50 times for Bayern Munich under two different managers. Fair enough, it didn't work out into Milan as much, but he's a Champions League winner. He's a Bundesliga winner. He's a Bundesliga double, treble winner. There's a lot to be said for that, experience. You got to realise as well, just because he was at a Stoke team, we've seen it with other clubs as well. If you, I know it's unprofessional and it's not good, but if you've had enough of a manager and you really don't believe what this manager is doing, you're not going to give it 100%. And you can see that there was 6 or 7 Stoke players that didn't work for Mark Hughes, and that's why they went down ultimately. If he went to Liverpool under a manager like Klopp, he could completely different player than what he was last season. Completely different. He could raise his game so much. Also, let's be honest as well, and no disrespect to Stoke, even though I don't like Stoke. When you come to a club like Liverpool, you have to raise your game as well, and you have that motivation to play in front of 55,000 people, to play in front of the Kop, to walk out knowing that I'm playing for the European champions of 5 times. I'm playing with players in the front three who are arguably the best front three in the world and arguably one of the best managers in the world. Of course he's going to step up his game. It's for me, I'm sorry, it's common sense, and that's why I think Sheridan Shaqiri for 12 million is a no-brainer.
Connor, do you know who I noticed about? I seen Dave was saying that Klopp is dishing out the hugs and stuff like that. If you look at the training pictures that have come out over the last couple of days, I've seen is it Alan Rodrigo de Sousa? I can never remember the guy's full name, but you know who I'm talking about, Alan. Yeah. I've seen him in the training pictures at Melwood, so this is a good sign, surely. Yeah,
has he gotten his work permit? Yeah, so that's why he's been loaned out so many times.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. If he's in the UK training, is he there on maybe a holiday visa or something like that, or are the club confident that they're going to get that visa from finally?
I feel like we would have heard something if he was going to be part of the squad this season. But then again, I haven't heard anything about him leaving either, so it's hard to know. He's kind of he's being touted as a very good player, isn't he? He's very young, and I think Klopp thinks very highly of him, so hopefully he can get him involved.
Did you see Klopp dishing out the hugs in the canteen yesterday? Fabinho got one, I think Keita got one as well.
Yeah, did you see the clips of him walking in, even hugging the receptionist and the dinner ladies and everything?
He's a fun man, isn't he?
Everyone getting on the act.
As I said to you guys yesterday in the stream, I did a little bit of research for a podcast that we were doing about players' contracts and that. So I had a look, Dave, at the players who are running out of contract at Liverpool in the next year. So we've got Divock Origi. His contract runs out in June 2019. Danny Sturridge, Moreno and Lazar Markovic. All of their contracts up next year. So looking at the 4 of these players, do you think there's any money for Liverpool Football Club to get to move them on?
I think there is for Origi. I think we'll get north of 10 for Origi, even though I suppose there is only a year left in his contract. Yeah, but even at that, how old? Yeah, if he can't go on a free, it'd be set by a tribunal because of the age. He'd be under 24 if he goes to another club. Moreno again, probably not. But I think they'll keep Moreno as backup because himself and Bobby are really good mates. So look, you'd pay whatever Moreno is just to be Bobby's jester kind of thing and just to keep him occupied. What we're led to believe, Lazar Markovic, they for love of money they can't get rid of him. So I think he'll go on loan, where the loan club will pay his wages and he'll be gone on a free then. Who else you mentioned? Was it Sturridge?
Yeah, Danny Sturridge, Moreno, Lazar Markovic and Divock Origi.
Sturridge, it'd be interesting. I don't know about Sturridge now. He came back. He's obviously in Melwood now. I can't see him being a Liverpool player. 150 grand a week for a player who, look, let's put it this way and let's call a spade a spade. He's an absolute crock. He's liable to break down at any time. If Liverpool can't get rid of him, they'll probably send him out on loan, where again the loan club will pay his wages, and that way we're not paying his 150 grand a week. And if he goes on a free, fine, we're not, we haven't spent any more wages on him.
And just looking through the chat again, Cop Idle has joined us. Good evening, sir. Thank you for joining us. Connor, I compiled a list of players who I think are there or thereabouts will be moved on this summer. So I want to get your opinion on these as I go through this list. So first of all, I'll just go through the list and let you know when the contracts are up. So we've got Divock Origi 2019. Dave spoke about him. Dominic Solanke's contract is 2022. Simon Mignolet still has 3 years left on his Liverpool deal. His runs out in June 2021. Danny Sturridge we spoke about. Alberto Moreno we spoke about. Both running out next year. Marco Grujic and Joel Matip both have contracts till 2020, so 2 years to go on them. Adam Lallana the exact same, 2 years on his. The one that actually surprised me in this was Ben Woodburn's on a contract till 2022, so 4 years still left on his contract.
Yeah, he must have signed recently. I could say we could see a lot of those leaving this summer, to be honest.
Well, let's go through them then. Let's go through them one by one.
Go one by one.
So we spoke about Origi. So Solanke is the second one on the list. And you guys in the chat as well, let us know in the comments how you feel about this situation. We're going through the players. We're going to have a little chat about what we think the club might be able to get for them, and if we think there's a place for them in the squad. So Connor, starting with Dominic Solanke, contract till 2022.
I wouldn't be going to sell him or anything, but I would rather see Brewster given the chance than Solanke. Maybe loan out Solanke this season and give Brewster a chance in the first team.
And what type of club would you be looking to put him out to, Solanke? I mean, you wouldn't be sending him up the Rangers, surely.
No, probably not. Maybe a high-end championship team, maybe, or someone just at one of the teams just came up. Maybe someone like Fulham or Cardiff, maybe. Interesting.
And Dave, your thoughts on Solanke?
Yeah, it's a good shout with Cardiff. I think he could suit that kind of football as well, because I think Solanke's. My opinion on Solanke is I think he's been extremely unlucky with putting the ball in the back of the net. I think his positional play and his intelligence are very, very good. It was just unfortunate that he's had to pretty much start again he got the goal against Brighton, a very well taken goal. But now he's kind of have to come back. I think Solanke does have a future at Liverpool. But yeah, the likes of it's a very good shot by Connor. The likes of I don't want to see our players kind of drop down the divisions, to be honest with you. I'd rather see Solanke play in the Premier League, whether it be for even, let's say, even a Southampton or something like that. But I think any Liverpool player that goes on loan with the intent of coming back, I think we have a system in place now where they have to play 75% of the games if they're not injured.
Or we get a fee, don't we get an extra fee, or they pay a fine or something like that.
The loan club pay a fine, which is proper order, because you're sending out your players on loan. A club like Liverpool, are sending their players out on loan to get first team football experience. So I think he stays. I think he's a future at the club. I think Brewster's time could be a bit too soon. So for that reason, if I was Klopp, I'd be keeping Solanke. I wouldn't be putting him on loan until we know what maybe the Fekir situation is, or who we bring in. But if we're bringing in them kind of players, then he probably would go on loan. If we're not, I'd keep him.
Looking through what people in the chat have to say, Joseph said Dominic needs a season in the Championship on loan. Aaron Lennon says, with Fekir's brother signing a contract, are Leon willing to sell Fekir to Liverpool, excuse me. Joseph Reardon says Forest. I think that's for Dominic Solanke. The Raptor says, it's Dave, Mr. Blunt. Hiya, mate. You won an awful lot of fans, Dave, with your response to my question about how you were feeling and your partner was feeling over Germany going out of the World Cup.
It was just how I was feeling. She was gutted. I couldn't give a shite.
Yeah, a lot of people were very impressed with your simply fuck 'em response.
Higher Raptor, mate. Thanks for that. Yeah, look, they're very cocky, the German fans. They think they were going to win everything, and it was like I had a bit of a smile on my face because we were watching it in the office actually with a few beers after work, and there was, we're going to hammer South Korea. It's going to be 5 or 6-0. And I was just sniggering to myself going, you're not. It's as simple as that. You're not. You might beat them 1-0 if you're lucky. But no, the way they went out. Mr. Scratch and Sniff as well. He's staying on, so.
The Raptor said your response was poetic.
Probably was, yeah. Thanks, Raptor. That's the Irish.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you speak your mind. We don't hold back. Again, Connor, go on to the next player on our list here. It's Mr. I can't look at his head without wanting to punch him in the face, Simon Mignolet. Contracted till 2021. He's made no secret that he wants to either play or move on at this point.
Yeah, I think he's going to fuck off himself, isn't he? At this point, I think we're all sick looking at him, like you said, and he's not happy to be sitting around, so I imagine he will go. I think was he linked to Napoli? I think wasn't it?
Yeah,
That's right,
and they will be looking for a keeper. Although, have they brought one in? Am I missing something? I know Roma have brought in an Italian keeper, but did Napoli bring one in, or are they still on the lookout? Because obviously, Pepe Reina has joined AC Milan.
I haven't heard anything about them.
Didn't Lazio bring in someone, a goalkeeper? Or am I raving?
I don't know, is the honest answer, Dave. They may well have. I mean, all this is just feeding our frenzy into buying goalkeepers from the Italian league, whether it be Strakosha, Allison, whoever it is. But Simon Mignolet, guys, in the chat, what do you think? Where will he go? How much will Liverpool get for him? I'm not even accepting that he's going to be at the club this season, Dave. He's surely to God it's his time to move on.
Yeah, I like, as I said, quicker he's gone, the absolute better, because too many mistakes. Just, he's just not good enough for Liverpool. If we sold him, but in fairness, if we sold him, you'd probably get 10, 15 million from him, just because of his age. He seems like a fit bloke as well. He doesn't, Mignolet doesn't really get injuries.
Joseph said yes, Lazio have signed a keeper.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So, Strakosha then. Again, I don't know too much about Strakosha. I must do a bit of YouTubing. I'm not really one for the YouTube, to be honest with you. I could look it on YouTube.
It's very embarrassing that you don't know everything about Albanian internationals, Dave, for fuck's sake.
I'm sorry. But yeah, from what I've read, he's meant to be a decent keeper. He really did take his place. Or he really did cement his place when he came in for the Lazio #1 keeper, and he kind of stayed there all season. But kind of going back to keepers, thing I like about keepers is when you don't hear too much about them. If you don't notice a goalkeeper, for me, they're doing a good job. They're doing what you want them to do, because if a keeper's too much in the spotlight, like Karius is now, they fucked up in some way. When your keeper is just nice and steady, you don't hear too much about them. That's what you want. You want your keeper to be a 6, 7 out of 10 consistently, get on with the game, and just nice and steady. So,
looking through the chat, the figure that most people seem to be comfortable with, Connor, for Miggs is between 10 and 15, but probably on the lower side of that, between 10 and 12 maybe is more correct for what I'm seeing here in the chat. What do you think of that number?
Yeah, I'd say it's about fair, to be honest. I think that's why we offered him that 5-year contract a few years ago, just to bump up his price when we would sell him, so he wouldn't be going on a free. So yeah, I'd say we could command probably 12 or 15 million for him, hopefully.
People's heads fell off at the time when they extended his contract, but a lot of people, I think we mentioned this on our account, and I think you spoke about it at the time as well, it was just protected as value.
Yeah, exactly. It was just so we wouldn't run down the contract, get nothing for him, because I think Klopp didn't see him as the long-term solution as his goalkeeper, so just made sense to up his value a bit before we sold him on.
A couple of people here saying, Sniper Joe said, if Liverpool buy Sillison, I'm going to cry. He never saves penalties. Don't worry about it though, mate. Liverpool won't let that go to penalties. We're just going to win everything in normal time from here on out. Louis says, wasn't Donnarumma being offered to us? And the best comment of the whole lot comes from our good mate Cop Idol, who says, Mignolet Dave feels like a dirty X.
it doesn't even feel like a dirty X. He feels like when you come home and do the walk of shame with the bird, but after you have 10 pints, and it's just, no, what in God's name have I done there? And then you just go home and you kind of curl up and the fear comes on you and you just cry. That's what Mignolet's like. He's just filth.
It feels like it's 5-3. You're looking around the nightclub, as you said, you're jarred. You're well jarred at this point. I mean, you're squinting with one eye to try and keep looking straight, and it's 5-3. And you're thinking, "Fuck, I better pull a move here, Connor. I better do something." And that's how you end up with a Simon Mignolet.
Yeah, I think you pretty much summed it up there. To be honest, he's just that kind of the worst option, maybe.
Mr. Bugzar says, bye Migs, it would be a free if it was my choice. Thomas Boland says, what about Tim Krul? I mean, as far as I know, isn't he like, he looks young, but I think Tim Krul is actually quite old.
In his 30s at least. Yeah,
that's what I was thinking. I don't rate him as a keeper either, to be honest.
Tim Krul is 30, yeah. No, I don't really rate him either. I tell you what, Newcastle have a good keeper. They signed, was it the Czech fella? He looks alright.
Wasn't that like 4.8 or something ridiculously low?
Yeah, didn't they? They signed him on loan at first, with loan to buy, but he's coming in. He's done a hell of a good job. Yeah, I like him as a keeper. But no, Tim Krul, he's very, very hit and miss. Very, very hit and miss. Now he's not Liverpool standard. I know we're talking about Mignolet here, who plays Liverpool, but Christ, I think Krul would be on. He'd be probably on par with Mignolet.
Escapado says Mignolet should do panto. It's all he's good for. Kevin Smith says Mignolet is fucking shite. I can't stand him. I'd never want to see him in a Liverpool shirt again. So I think we've got a consensus here, Connor, for Mignolet.
Yeah, I think everyone's of the same opinion. Just get rid of him. Everyone's just sick of him. Bringing someone better.
There you go. Maybe we can do a little package deal. Buy him and you get a Bogdan free. Although he's off, isn't he, to Hibernian or something like that?
Oh, my heart was broken when I seen that news.
I see
out.
I see Cash said she has a mate who's a Hibs fan and that they were awfully fucking upset at the thoughts of Adam Bogdan going up there.
Like, can we just take a second to notice that Conor Randall is still playing for us?
I know. I looked through the contract situation.
At this point, like.
It's absolutely ridiculous, isn't it?
How is he still there?
How is Conor Randall still a Liverpool player?
Years.
And he played poorly as well.
Yeah,
he's awful.
He looks like a chubby little. I don't know. He doesn't look like a footballer at all. He looks like. Do you know what he looks like? I have a butcher down the road here, and he looks like the butcher I have where I get my sausages and meat from and all that.
Conor Randall's a butcher. I thought it's probably a good nickname, to be fair, in football. Yeah, the butcher.
The butcher. Yeah.
A few more shouts here. Dubravka, Nick Pope. A couple of people actually talking about Nick Pope, Connor.
Yeah, he's alright, but I wouldn't take him. Like, he's not what we need. I think I've said it before, the fact that he's an understudy to Pickford, and Pickford's Everton's goalkeeper. Like, we can't be signing a first choice keeper who's worse than Everton's keeper.
Dave, Chris made a spectacular point on the podcast the other night in regards to goalkeepers, and a couple of people in the chat here have said there are good goalkeepers out there, but it kind of links into what Chris said about good goalkeepers being out there but not being the big names. And to become the big names, you have to have them moves to the big clubs like De Gea and stuff like that. So there are quality goalkeepers in the world. It's just a matter of going and finding them and having the balls to bring them into the club and stick them between the goalposts.
No, it's a great sense. Great statement by Chris. He does talk a lot of sense. We know that.
He does. It's annoying at times, isn't it? I mean, he's far too sensible. He's brilliant. I mean, I really like Chris, but I mean, sometimes he just makes a show of us. He's too intelligent, too knowledgeable, and it's not right. It's not what we're about here. We're not all about knowledge here on the Anfield Agenda.
But going back, like the question kind of is still in my mind, like, with the goalkeepers that have come in, the goalkeepers in the past, and as I gave a prime example of Brad Jones being absolute dog shit at Liverpool, but got on to have a really good career in the Netherlands because of Achterberg. Like, how he looks like every keeper that comes in, he just turns them into dust.
Galaxy as well. He fucked off and had a decent career at Leipzig.
He's still at Leipzig. He's doing a decent job, yeah, absolutely.
That's when he's not moonlighting as Prince William.
Good shout.
It was actually Connor's shout. It wasn't mine. I remember Connor posting that in a tweet once.
I think that was Charlie. That was me. I wish it was me, but I think it was Charlie.
That's brilliant. But the question has to be asked there as well. I've read something as well that he's out scouting goalkeepers as well, Achterberg. Look, yeah, fine, scout them. Head up to Greenland. There's a few good goalkeepers out there. Spend a couple of years up there, mate. We'll bring in another goalkeeping coach. You go out there and do a bit of scouting. But yeah,
you could make him Bogdan's personal assistant.
We could do, yeah, we could do. But it's a great. Going back to I suppose the question is, and going back to what I said, if you sign a keeper who you don't really know, who hasn't really stood out, surely that has to be a logical and a good thing, because they probably don't make too many mistakes. They're very consistent, very steady, and that's what you want from a goalkeeper. You want them attributes where, you know, and especially being in a team like Liverpool, because with a team like Liverpool as well, goalkeepers at times don't have too much to do, and when you need them to do something, they have to be highly concentrated. They have to be switched on all the time. So for me, an unspectacular goalkeeper and a consistent goalkeeper, I'd be more than happy with that. Who doesn't make too many mistakes, who, you know, is steady, who can calm the defence down as well. But yeah, of course there is. There's loads of them out there. The South Korean keeper didn't look too bad when we seen him. Who else? the Mexican goalkeeper, Okocha, whatever his name is, he doesn't look like a bad keeper. I know we're not being linked with him, but there's loads of goalkeepers out there, absolutely. Of course there is.
Damo says, always question Mignolet's judgment after saying he believed he could become Belgium's number one. Courtois must be still laughing his ass off. And then Gary McKenna kind of mirrors what we're saying. He says, think of the top 10 or 15 goalkeepers around the world. How many actually cost their clubs stupid money? The top class keeper for us is out there somewhere.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, Stream Take De Gea, he wasn't top class when he was bought. So if we can buy someone who's good, they could become world class for all we know. Like even say Pepe Reina wasn't exactly the best player in the world when we signed him, and yeah, he became brilliant when we got him as well. So maybe Strakosha is the next De Gea. Who knows?
The junior says Bogdan's contract will just run down. Well, it will, because he's gone on loan to Hibs, so that'll take care of the last year of his contract at Liverpool, thankfully, and then we'll never have to see 118 Bogdan again.
Imagine the scenes if we gave him a new contract.
Oh my God, there would be. I mean, as much as we could say protect his value with Mignolet, there's no way we could make that argument with Adam Bogdan. What else have we got? Maverick says Karius was worth a punt that has failed miserably. Even aside from Champions League, Liverpool need to start from scratch. Would we say he's failed miserably? I mean, is that being a little bit too harsh on Karius, Connor?
I think that's way too harsh. Like he was top class up until that game when he got the chance to get into the first team. Like he made very few errors once he actually solidified his place in that team. So I think that's not right to say that at all.
Nathan wants to know, I wonder what twat has disliked the stream. There's always one, mate. Yeah, there's always one. Hassan says, hello, Craig. Yeah, kind of, me and you don't like when that happens, but there is always one or two, isn't there, that hit that dislike button, and I just don't like knowing who it is. That's what
I'd say it's
pisses
Mark
me off.
Ulrich, is it?
It probably is. It could be Donald Trump as well from earlier on. He mightn't be happy that we didn't get to talk foreign policy, and he could have just got a bit fed up waiting and decided to head off. But do you know who I think it is, Dave? Hand on heart. It's Diet Coke. They're trying to muscle in. They're probably going to start trying to get a takeover now, the Diet Chav brand.
It's probably Pepsi.
Could be Pepsi. That's a good shout.
Could be Pepsi.
Yeah, Pepsi.
What's the Chav equivalent to Pepsi?
Pepsi.
Chav?
Diet Pepsi. It's just called Pepsi. That's the Chav equivalent.
I fucking hate Pepsi. I really don't like it one bit. Don't like Pepsi Max, don't like Pepsi, don't like Diet Pepsi, don't like anything about Pepsi. It's Diet Chav all the way, people. Be part of the solution. We can put Coke out of business here. No, not really Coke. We love you, Coke. And remember, just hit me up. Free cans, free bottles. We don't want money. We're not about money here. We're just about beverages. We'll take it. Of course we'll take it. I mean, do you guys remember the story about, was it Apple? No, it was the other way around. Samsung had to pay Apple a fine, didn't they, for copyright or infringing on copyright of one of their phones or something like that, or one of their designs. And didn't they?
Screen, I think, wasn't it?
Didn't they arrive with a fucking truck full of quarters or something? To the offices.
Yeah.
I think it was 8 million or something, and they arrived with a truck full of quarters or dimes or something like that, and knocked into the offices and said, "Well, we have your money here. You want to come out and get it?" That's the type of shit I try and pull, to be fair. Right, what else have we got here in the chat? Right, going to the contract. Sorry, I forgot we were on the contract. I'm aware of the time, by the way, Jen, so if either of you do need to head off at any point, don't just speak up, don't be shy, let me know. Danny Sturridge, we've done Alberto Moreno, we've done Joel Matip is next up, Dave. 2020 is when his contract runs out.
Yeah, Matip is a tricky one. He started off what I thought really well when he signed for Liverpool. I thought, yeah, look, he looks like a good... Well, I knew he was a good solid centre-back. He had a good reputation coming from Schalke. I don't know what's happened to the lad. It's good to see him. Look, it's good to see him back at pre-season, because we thought he was out for... I initially thought he was out for a longer time. With Lovren away at the World Cup as well, what Joel Matip needs to be doing is he needs to be really, really stepping it up in pre-season, and I mean being on par with Van Dijk. That kind of, he needs to be that good if he's going to stay at the club. Good thing about Matip as well, he didn't cost any money. He's not a huge earner at the club. Well, actually, is he? Actually, I think he's 90 or
100k a week.
It's 100 grand a week. Yeah, sorry. That is a lot of money. But if we sold him, I could see, I could see him going back to Germany like that. I could actually see him going, even though he played for Schalke, the likes of Dortmund Dortmund or something like that. And would we get 15 to 20 million from him if we sold him? So I have no worries about that. if we did sell him, because we'll get a good return on our investment. He's not old. He's not hugely injury prone, but he has slipped down the pecking order. So there is a question mark over his head. Not a huge question mark, but there is a question mark over his head.
If I remember correctly, I think there was a 4 million quid signing on bonus for Joel Matip, and as you said, in around 90, 100 grand a week, something like that, which isn't unusual for a free agent of his ability.
Correct, yeah, exactly. And as I said, when he came in, he was brilliant. He looked really, really good. I just don't know what happened. He looked very sloppy. He looks very lethargic at times. Very cumbersome. Look, as I said, there is a question mark, but he does. If he thinks he has or wants to have a future at Liverpool Football Club, he needs to take this pre-season now with a scruff on the neck, because Clavan is back. Joe Gomez, I think he's close to coming back as well. And he could very easily be surplus to requirements in a very short period of time.
Some interesting stuff here in the chat. I see a lot of people wanting the guy from Barcelona, the Colombian guy that played tonight, Mina. What's his second name? I can never remember.
Yala.
Yeah, Mina, that guy. A lot of people calling for him, but there was one particular comment here in the chat that I really found interesting. Escapado said the Barca need to move out a non-EU player because they have too many. Did you know that, Connor?
No, hadn't heard that. Didn't even know there was a rule.
Which would be interesting.
It's a rule, yeah. It is a rule, yeah.
Because he hasn't really been getting much of a look in at Barca. I don't remember him playing. Was he there last season? I don't know much about this guy at all. Before this World Cup.
This season.
All right.
He signed last season. He's only played, the season just gone. Sorry, Connor, but he's he's only got about 5 games to them.
Interesting, but you look at their back line, it is their centre back pairing especially, it is quite aged, and obviously they brought in Umtiti who's young, but if you're talking about Gerard Piqué, he's on his last legs at this point.
Yeah,
he's like 34, isn't he?
Yeah, but he still has Shakira, so to be fair, he wins.
Fair point.
Connor, Joel Matip, what do you think? I've made no secret of my impression of him is that he's just too soft. He picks up too many little injuries, can't get a run of games out of him. Like Dave, I thought he was pretty good when he first came in, but he hasn't been consistent enough for me, so a couple of years left, I'd like to move him on.
Yeah, he's a decent player, but I'd rather Lovren, and I've always said that I want us to sign a centre-back this season to challenge for Lovren's spot, and if Matip is okay with being a 4th choice, then I'd say keep him. Because I think in his time at Schalke, didn't he play a lot in the number 6, defensive midfield role?
Yes, he did.
So
yeah,
he would give us an extra option that way. Like, we know Klopp loves diverse players like that. So if he was happy to stick around, then I'd have him. But yeah, if we got a decent offer for him, I'd say he probably will move on.
Moving on to the next player on our list, Dave, and it's a really interesting one actually, and one that has had links away from the club. That's Marko Grujic. His contract runs until 2020 as well.
He's another lad I know we discussed is going on loan with Liverpool like a poison chalice. But I think with him, I don't think it is. I think Klopp wants to give him another year at the Premier League club, or certainly a really, like a Lazio or something like that. I can definitely see him go back to Cardiff again. And then when he comes back, I suppose he's because he's 21 now. Let's say next season he's going to be 22. I do think the lad does have a future at the club. I really do. He done very well for Cardiff when he went there. He's obviously away now with Serbia. But I don't think that thing with if a player goes on loan, it's that his career finished. It does happen a lot, but I don't think with him it is going to be the end of the road for him.
Just in the chat, I've noticed somebody asked, is it just me or is Craig really blurry? So do let me know, guys, how I'm coming across on your computers, if I am blurry to you or if it's just the Raptor. Connor, Marko Grujic, where I kind of stand with him is, with 2 years left on his deal, I'd like to see us try and tie him down to a new deal and then maybe send him out somewhere like Lazio or Cardiff on loan again. Yeah,
I'm pretty much the same. I have very high hopes for Grujic still. I think he's fantastic from what I've seen of him. He's just very raw still. He needs that kind of... needs to be coached into keeping his head a bit more. He's a bit rash at times and just needs to work overall on his game. But yeah, I definitely see a player in him. I wouldn't sell him unless we had some sort of buyback clause.
It's unfortunate, isn't it, at times where you do know, like we all seem to think that there is a player in there, but we just haven't got the ability to allow him the game time to develop.
That's the thing, we've so many midfielders now, like I could see him going back to Cardiff. I think that's the talk. Another year there. Or, like you said, Lazio will be good because he could learn from Milinkovic-Savic. Yeah, a year with him, he could develop an awful lot and come back and he could be a starter for a season after, who knows. But
Either
yeah, I definitely think there is a player in there, though. I think he's going to be brilliant someday.
either way, whatever we do with him, if in regards to keeping him, I'd like to see us try and tie him down to a new deal, because 2 years to go, if he went out on loan to say Lazio or Cardiff for a year, that means we're under pressure as soon as he comes back with 1 year left on his contract. If he played extremely well, say at Lazio, and he loved it over there, he loved the city, found a nice home, maybe met an Italian girl or whatever, you never know, he could then angle for a move and the club are in a very weak position.
Yeah, exactly. I'd say, yeah, tie him down to a 4 or 5 year deal and then send him out on loan is probably the most reasonable thing to do. Or sell with a buyback clause, like I said.
2 players left, Dave, on our list, and one of them is somebody who I've spoken about a couple of times and said I'm really on the fence with regards to his future, and that's Adam Lallana. Again, his contract runs until 2020. He's around 30, 31 years of age. I think he's 30 actually, so probably has one decent move left in his career.
I think Lallana, he definitely won't go this window. It'd be interesting. And plus as well with the players that we have missing from the midfield, or let's say, even he's obviously going to be starting pre-season. He needs to, again, like a matter, cement a place in there, or work his backside off. Sorry, Lallana always works his backside off. He is the ultimate professional. He's probably not going to be happy sitting on the bench. But out of all them players, I think he is the one who has a more of a future than anyone else. I do rate Lallana still. He's been unlucky with injuries. Loved the man's attitude, because he came back. He didn't really take a holiday pre-season. He was back in. He came back. Sorry, he was back in pre-season the end of June at end of May, and he worked a bit, and then he went on holidays and was one of the first ones back as well. So you can't deny his professionalism and his eagerness to kind of get back into this team. He's also meant to be a very good personality around the dressing room, which, that's worth a lot of money as well, to have someone who can kind of bond players together and unite them as well. So I have no worries with Lallana going.
He's also Hendo's BFF forever.
This is it, exactly. Yeah,
they have one of them necklaces where each of them have half the heart.
BFF rings or something like that. But no, I don't think he'd be going this window, to be honest.
Connor, for you, Adam Lallana, I don't think any of us have any doubts about his quality. Unfortunately, he had a very injury-prone year last year, but where do you sit on him and his career at Liverpool?
I find it strange, actually, because when Klopp first came in, we never would have thought Lallana would be a Klopp-type player, but he pretty much is the ideal Klopp player. Like, he just runs himself into the ground every game, similar to Milner, kind of. But what I was surprised about with Lallana, have you seen the footage of the training yesterday, first day back?
No, I was just looking out for the hugs.
I think they were doing like what's kind of running test, see who could do the most run, and he was beaten only by Milner. Like, Lallana actually outrun Keita.
Yeah,
he's that bit already, like, after coming back from injury.
And to be fair, it's not even a competition with Jimmy Milner there. Like, you're not outrunning Jimmy Milner, so I mean, he really did win then, I suppose.
Pretty much, yeah. Milner even everyone else had stopped and some were sitting down. He actually got them to move out of the way so he could start running more. Like, he's just an absolute machine.
Do you think he was just unlucky this season with injuries? One of the things that I remember about Adam Lallana when he first joined Liverpool, and this has improved to an extent, he seemed to have always been a 65-70 minute player, and then his tank seemed to run out. But at Liverpool, under Jurgen Klopp, with the training regime that we put in place, he does seem to have a much better engine.
Yeah, I think you're right there. It's like he's just an absolute workhorse, isn't he? And he's good. He's good at breaking down defences. Like, he's good with them kind of slick passes through, and I think he definitely has something to offer to the team. Like, we don't have that many creative midfielders, to be honest. So I think we should keep him.
And the last player, Dave, that we haven't really spoke much about is Ben Woodburn, and his contract runs till 2022. So what would you like to see done with young Mr. Woodburn?
I think this season sent on loan. I think he'd be a good player for maybe the likes of Celtic or a top-end championship team.
I think Celtic's a great shout, by the way.
Yeah, he does need minutes under his belt, and I think he'd do okay under Celtic as well. It'd be I think with the Scottish League, with a player like Woodburn, it could be a place where he could kind of, express himself a bit more, if that makes sense, as a kind of a creative player. Get a bit of confidence in what he could do. That's where I see him, to be honest. I can't see him getting too many minutes at Liverpool this season.
And for yourself, Connor, Ben Woodburn, as you said, we must have tied him down to a new deal recently enough because his contract runs until 2022. Certainly very highly thought of at the club, obviously by his international coach as well. He's already being capped for Wales. What do you think? Ben Woodburn, keep him, sell him, loan him?
I'd say loan. Definitely not sell him because, like, same as Gruitch, there definitely is a player in there to be gotten. Yeah, Celtic is a very good shout, or else someone maybe like
Fulham.
Leeds, maybe. Someone kind of a higher end championship team, maybe.
Leeds would be a good shout as well, yeah, with the new manager that they have in.
Although, how long will Beasley
Bielsa's
actually be there before he decides, oh, fuck this, I'm out of there? Because he's a bit of a nut job, isn't he, to be fair? He's been known to just pack up jobs and walk away very quickly.
They sack him managers like every 3 months too, don't they?
Yeah, the owner there is a bit of a nut job as well. Have you seen actually the issue with Sporting Lisbon has kind of been sorted? They had a vote and there was a vote of no confidence in the sporting director, the CEO, or whoever it is that runs the club that's apparently caused some of these issues.
He's gone, that's right, yeah, I read that, which is no real surprise.
So I think that may, although obviously the keeper has already left, but that may stop some of the players being able to cancel their contracts because they were using him as one of the reasons as to why they wanted to leave the club.
I think the contracts are cancelled though. That's done now. It's been passed through UEFA from what I've read. Hence, why was Raul Patricio one of them lads who cancelled his contract and he's at Wolves now?
Yeah, that's what someone did use him as an example to say that one went through fine and that seems to be done and dusted.
I think it's been valid. I think once that contract is cancelled and once him as a CEO has signed it off, there's no going back in it.
Yeah, it's Gelson Martins, Connor, is a player that we are continuously linked with. Arsenal were the other club we're seeing linked with him. If we can get him on a free transfer, even if we do have to give him 7-8 million quid on top of his wages, that would be a decent piece of business. Would that perhaps then push out in Shaqiri out of the way?
It's hard to know because Martins is probably a 30-40 million player, isn't he? So we'll be saving a lot of money if we get him in. But we do need a lot of options. We need a big squad. Like, was it Xavi Alonso was saying that we need like 22 good players?
That's right.
Like, so having him and Shaqiri coming in will be brilliant. Especially if we can get Fekir in as well. Gives it an awful lot of depth up front.
The junior just said in the chat here that Gelson has been linked with Lazio as well. They seem to be trying to sign a good few players this summer. They must be getting ready to sell.
Yeah, they just sold Felipe Anderson to West Ham, didn't they? So they're probably trying to replace him.
And it looks like they'll probably end up selling Milinkovic-Savic as well at some point.
I think he's staying though, because didn't he say he wants Gruitch to join him at Lazio? That kind of suggests he's not moving.
He's been very strongly linked with Manchester United though at one point, hasn't he?
Yeah, your man Mark Goldbridge is just having a wank over him every night, just praying to get him.
Yeah, but they never wanted Fabinho though. It's really important that we make that fact very clear.
I say the same with Griezmann. He was top 5 players in the world when he wanted him, and he wasn't even top 10 strikers when he said he was staying at Atletico.
Louis is just putting in the chat exactly what you said earlier on, that Juve want Cristiano Ronaldo.
I still can't believe it though. That's something I was wondering too. If Ronaldo did leave Madrid, would they be looking at someone like Hazard or Neymar or someone like Lewandowski to bring in? What position would they actually be replacing?
That's a very good question.
Maybe Mbappe actually play either.
Well, that was somebody, Dave. I seen somebody shout earlier on that Real Madrid, or it's Mbappe that they're going after and not Neymar.
I can't see it being Mbappe because he hasn't even joined, or he's only joined PSG, sorry, should I say, officially as his loan was for a year, and he's only joined them officially now on the 1st of July. So I can't see him going to Madrid.
Yeah, it would be a lot for PSG to sell him, but he is probably the next generation of superstar by looking at it. I can't see anybody else in the world coming through. And look, I'm including Neymar in this. I would think that he has a higher ceiling even than Neymar.
I don't want to talk about Neymar. He's just a fucking cunt. I'm sorry for my language. I absolutely hate him. A grown man to be going around like that now. Do you know I'd love to see Neymar? And sorry for the listeners if you don't know what this is, on a GAA pitch. I would absolutely hockey him up and down a GAA pitch until he wasn't able to walk or stand.
I'd go one better. I'd say on an international rules match.
Oh yeah, something like that, where he would just get handballed up and down the pitch. But do you know what's going to happen to Neymar? It's going to come to a stage now where someone will go in for a tackle and will hurt him, and the referee's just going to wave it away. Well, look, we know you're up to your antics, but he's an awful fucking idiot of a man. Jesus Christ, he's so much talent. Why does he do these things?
Yeah, he's a little bitch, isn't he? He's a little baby. I've spoke about this before. If he had the work rate, Connor, or even putting the work rate aside, we've seen Lionel Messi get the shit kicked out of him constantly throughout his career, but he just gets up and gets on with it.
That's it, like, yeah. Like, obviously when you're a player with that ability, you're going to be targeted by defenders, so it's no surprise that he gets these knocks and kicks and everything. But yeah, he just has to get up and go on with it if he wants to be challenging for the Ballon d'Or.
What I see with Neymar is he's running along with the ball and somebody starts niggling at his shirt. Rather than pass the ball on to somebody who's in the better position, he seems to want more and more of the contact. So he seems to keep carrying on with the ball and running and not releasing it until he gets his goddamn free kick.
He just wants to make it all about him, I suppose, doesn't he? It's a one-man show. That's why he went to PSG. Sure, he didn't want to be in Messi's shadow. He wants to be the centre of attention. I think that sums it up, like.
And look, I don't care that he's went over to PSG and scored 7 million goals in a season. I back myself to score at least 2 million if I went to PSG.
I think Salah scored more in the Premier League than he did in Ligue 1, though.
Yeah, exactly. And Salah has worked hard for the team. Although, being honest here, guys, at the end of the season, he was getting a little bit Mayfainy, wasn't he? Trying to break that record.
You can't blame him, though.
No, you can't. He needed to get it done, but yeah, I mean, there is. Like, I mean, I seen a shout on Sky Sports News, Dave, for the Ballon d'Or this season, and they were listing off possible players, and they actually had the cheek to include Harry Kane ahead of Mo Salah in that list. Like, I mean, higher up the list when they were talking about candidates than Mo Salah.
Who was it? Sky?
Yeah, Sky Sports.
What do you expect from them dickheads? Honestly, Christ above. That's not surprising with Sky. It's beautiful how far Sky have come down. They're getting outbidded for every sports venue they go in for.
Even by companies I've never heard of before.
Say that again?
Even by companies I've never heard of before. Like, there's companies coming into the market now that I've never heard of.
Yeah, they've gone so far down the food chain. Like, even when I lived in Ireland, I cancelled my Sky. I got one of them Cody boxes. I wouldn't pay a penny to Sky. Absolute waste of money. But to have Salah ahead of, or have Kane ahead of Salah, tells you everything you need to know about Sky. It's as simple as that. Everything you need to know about them.
Yeah, for me, Connor, he isn't even in the conversation for the Ballon d'Or. I mean, yeah, he'll probably make that list of the final 15 or 20 or whatever it is, but when it comes down to the nitty gritty, there's really only maybe 5 players in the world that could contest this.
Yeah, Kane doesn't deserve to be in there. Who else would you have there? It was Ronaldo and Messi, and then you'd have Salah, Neymar.
I wouldn't have Neymar.
Griezmann,
I wouldn't have. I honestly wouldn't have Neymar.
You wouldn't have him, but he will be there. Yeah,
he will be there. Yeah,
he will be there.
Who else? Possibly Griezmann, De Gea, probably.
Yeah, they usually like to throw in a goalkeeper, don't they, just to mix it up.
Anyone really stood out of this World Cup who's you think, he's been consistent, he's carried it on in the World Cup as well?
Jordan Henderson.
Nailed on. Dejan Lovren for the Ballon d'Or when he wins the World Cup for Croatia.
What about Luka Modric? Would he be in the conversation?
I mean, yeah, it is. Like, I mean, I seen somebody say earlier on that Keylor Navas isn't a world-class goalkeeper, and I had to point out that he's part of a team that have just won 3 Champions Leagues in a row, and the same, I suppose, goes for Luka Modric. We almost take for granted just how good he is, Dave.
Yeah, no. Again, the reason why people are saying that because he's consistent. He doesn't do anything spectacular. He doesn't make too many mistakes, and he's unnoticeable, and that's what you want in a goalkeeper. I know I'm kind of repeating myself, but that's a real solid sign that you have a consistent goalkeeper when he doesn't really get spoken about, and that's why he's kind of in the conversations as well, if you know what I mean.
De Bruyne was actually mentioned in the comments as well by Escapado, which is a fair shout. It was really nip and tuck between him and Mo Salah for the Player of the Season award. I think if De Bruyne had perhaps Connor carried his form over even an extra month longer than it did before it tailed off, he probably would have got the nod.
Yeah, I'd say he would have, just purely because like he led that City team to win the Premier League with record numbers of points, so he couldn't have argued too much, I suppose. But yeah, he kind of dropped off, kind of when it was February, March, kind of, wasn't it? Started to drop off a bit. I don't think he got an assist for like 2 or 3 months at one point.
Did you see his face last night, by the way, during that game? He looked like he was about to like explode. It was so red.
Oh, so funny. Just go back to Modric for a second, actually. He could be in with an actual good shout of winning the Ballon d'Or. Like, imagine he wins the Champions League with Madrid and then wins with Croatia, yeah.
Correct. Yeah, that's what I mean. I'm
gonna a really good shout there.
I'm gonna shoot after this, lads. But before I do, one name we haven't spoken about for the Ballon d'Or, and I can't believe we didn't, is Bogdan.
Yeah, well, I think they're inventing a special one for him.
Him and Conor Randall.
Yeah.
The Butcher Awards.
It's the Lifetime Achievement Award for being able to scam wages throughout your entire career.
Sponsored by Diet Chav.
Yeah, no, we've refused that. There's no way. That's a Pepsi event.
Or Randall with the Balloon Award or something like that.
Yeah. I can't believe he's still a club. But look, Dave, thank you so much for joining us.
Cheers, lads.
I know you're in Germany there. You're an hour ahead, so it's after midnight there in Germany.
No worries.
We will speak to you tomorrow when we record that podcast. Yeah. But look, buddy, have a good one, and thanks for joining us.
Cheers, everyone. All the best.
See you, Dave. Bye-bye.
Bye, Dave.
And then there were 2, Connor, and then there were 2. So let's try and get stuck into the chat, because sometimes when there's 3 of us on, it's a little bit tough to get through the listeners' comments and stuff. So we will be 100% focused, guys, on what you want to talk about. Let us know in the chat. Let us know what you want to have a talk about. And do you know what, Connor? There's always lots of love for Dave in the chat.
Yeah, they all love him, don't they? I think it was that night when he was going through his German knowledge. Everyone just came to really like him.
Yeah, and
hashtag Ask Dave.
Hashtag Ask Dave, yeah, that's true. He's a very likeable man, to be fair. I mean, I like that he speaks his mind. I mean, that fucking comment for Germany was just top notch.
That's just brilliant. I kind of sums up Dave, yeah. It just kind of speaks his mind, really, yeah, like you
said. Louis says Donnarumma would suit us in his opinion. What do you reckon to Donnarumma? I know we've spoken about goalkeepers quite a lot, but it is a tough one. 19 years of age. I get anybody's argument that says we need proven quality.
Is this the Donnarumma of the day, is it?
Oh, the Donnarumma. Who was it last night came up with that one on the stream?
I can't remember who it was. It's a good shout, though.
Whoever it was, we want to give you credit, so let us know in the chat there, whichever one.
I think it might have been Steve. I can't remember. But yeah, it's like I said earlier, I think 19 years old is a bit young to be bringing him in, to be putting that much expectation on him. Like, I'm sure he's capable of handling the pressure, but I wouldn't feel comfortable having him, to be honest.
Finn says, confused to be honest about Gelson Martin, Sheridan Shaqiri and Julian Brandt. Which one are we actually linked with? I'd rule out Brandt personally out of that, Connor, and say the other 2 are possibly players that we would be going after.
Yeah, Shaqiri looks nailed on, and Martin's is kind of, I think it's just rumours more than actual links at this point. And Brandt, yeah, he's just nailed on to go to Bayern, so wouldn't even think about him. Yeah,
it's a lot of people really have high hopes for Julian Brandt joining Liverpool, and I feel like an absolute git when I keep saying that. It looks like it's Bayern Munich for him.
You should just have a sign you can hold up with these things you keep saying.
That is true. He doesn't want to be part of the solution.
Did someone suggest kind of roll of news, the highlights along the bottom of the screen? You could just have like random signs to hold up with the big piece of news.
Oh yeah, that's actually it. I wanted to have a little chat about the watch-alongs, because people keep asking, are we going to do watch-alongs when the season starts and stuff, and I've said we are. We're just working on the tech a little bit in the background, but it is definitely something Connor will be doing.
Yeah, definitely. I think we're going to be trying to try it out over pre-season, so very soon.
I'm looking forward to it, I have to say. I really am looking forward to it.
Should be a bit of fun, yeah.
I wonder how long before I get kicked off YouTube.
Oh, I can't wait. I'd say 15 minutes into the first game.
Yeah, I think we have to be very careful about...
Some of the things you come out with, so funny.
I think we have to be careful about how we word this, by the way, when we're pitching it, because I've seen a lot of people get banned for even putting the thing like watch along or streams and stuff like that. We have to be very clear that we won't be showing any of the actual game time.
Yeah, it's the thing. I think it does get banned. I have to go in a second, actually.
Yep, no worries at all. I'm happily join the group and have a little chat with the guys here. Again, thank you, Connor, for joining us tonight, and Dave. It's been great fun having a chat with the two of you. And Connor, I'll catch up with you during the week, buddy.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks.
Thanks, Connor. Bye bye.
Yeah, but thanks.
Right, guys, it's just you and me. So I'd say we've got about half an hour left in tonight's stream. So let me know what you want to have a chat about. I'm going to go through the comments here. Somebody asked, do I think we could win the Premier League with Karius between the sticks? It's a tough question. It is a tough question. If you had have asked me that question 3 months ago, I'd have probably said yes. But now, I don't know. It would be possible, but it wouldn't be my ideal scenario. But look, however we win the Premier League is going to be good with me. What else have we got here in the chat? Do you both think Shaqiri is done? I would be fairly confident that there has been work done on that deal behind the scenes. I guess we're going to know soon enough, Junior, mate, because if we don't see something in the next week or two with him now finishing the World Cup, and I know he has to go off on his holidays and stuff, but you know, generally these things start to come out. He may actually, what I'd expect to happen if we were really interested in him is him to leave the World Cup, come straight to Liverpool, do a medical, talk through with his agent, talk over negotiations and stuff. Obviously agree the fee, although there is a buyout clause with Stoke, and they can get the deal done, and then him head off on his 3-week holiday or whatever it is before he joins for pre-season. So I'd be surprised if we don't see something either way over the next 5 to 7 days in regards to Shaqiri. Gary says, Craig, do you agree that any new keeper needs to be proactive with top end distribution? Yes, and that I suppose, Gary, is where my own worries about Gianluigi Donnarumma come into it, because I've no concerns that he'll develop into a very good goalkeeper in regards to shot stop, in regards to commanding his area, but I'm yet to be convinced that he does have that distribution that you spoke of. That's something that obviously Alisson, I think, does very, very well. So something I'd have no fears about with him, but other people seem to think that his actual goalkeeping is suspect. So I think it's one of the very, very high list of priorities on our search for a goalkeeper, Gary. People are going to come back and say, look, a goalkeeper's job is to simply stop the ball from going in the net, and technically it is, but in this team, with the counter-attacking style that we play, with teams pressing against us and us looking to get over the top or in behind them, I think distribution from a goalkeeper is very, very important. Joseph says, I think the Asensio talk is to just put the shits up Leon. I think personally it's coming from his end, and I think it's to secure him a better contract at Real Madrid, because he probably feels like now he needs to be one of their top earners, that he's no longer a kid, that he deserves to be paid on parity with the big boys at Real Madrid. Finn says, Moses Simon from Ghent and the Nigerian winger, are we still linked with him? I don't know. It seems to have gone very quiet, Finn. There's been a lot of love for him shown by the guys here in the chat, and I know that our interest in Moses Simon does predate this summer. It does go back, I think, 2-3 years when he signed for Ghent. So I don't know is the honest answer. A lot of things have gone quiet, especially around Fekir. This has probably been the little quietest couple of days about Fekir that I can remember over the previous 2-3 weeks. I mean, even Johnny Cuntillock seems to be shutting his mouth more lately, and we haven't seen anything from him. The Raptor says, get a video printer like Final Score. It is something like that we're looking to do, to be fair. Obviously with the comments here on one side, we do need to look at how we set up the screen, but we are trying to constantly progress and be a little bit more interactive. We want to get you guys as involved in every show we do as possible, because it's really important for us that anything we do on YouTube isn't just us on here giving our views, because it's about a collective. It's about us getting your views and everybody having a chat and coming to a general consensus on how we feel about either games or players or whatever the hell it is. So we want you guys to be as involved. So anything we do tech wise going forward to try and look at developing the channel, it will be with you guys in mind, because we won't have a channel, we won't have subscribers if it wasn't for you guys coming in here every night, watching the streams, contributing like you do. We wouldn't be here, and Diet Chav wouldn't have bothered their arse to come along and sponsor the show. So congratulations to Diet Chav for getting involved, and honestly, most importantly and seriously, thank you to you guys as always. I know I probably say it a little bit too often, but It means a lot to us that you're here every night watching us, helping us grow the channel. Please, if you haven't done so, give us a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, help us grow. Lots of love for Connor as well in the chat saying good night. Connor, I've said this time and time again, Connor is the guy that does a lot of stuff in the background, makes all the lovely thumbnails you see, makes all the images for us. He's a top class tech designer, or excuse me, he's top graphic designer. I keep getting my words mixed up. I mean, computer tech. I don't even need these headphones anymore, so they can go. Computer tech really isn't my thing, but I'd be lost without Connor. The entire Anfield Agenda family would be lost without Connor. So it's right that Connor gets some praise at times because he does so much of the work behind the scenes. Maverick says there's no way in God's green earth we can win the Premier League with Karius. And then the junior says scenes when we win the league. Paul says, has Karius returned for pre-season training? Yes, as far as I'm aware he has, or he's been around the club anyway. I mean, Connor, wasn't it Connor tonight said that he's seen pictures of him strolling around the place? Joseph says no, he still has a sore head. Sniper Jewel says Donnarumma has 6 games for Italy as well. And the junior says, I heard Shaqiri done his medical and everything, but not sure how credible the source is. I would imagine he probably hasn't, because there's been no whisper of anything between Liverpool and Stoke, even from people that are quite close to Stoke, and there's been nothing that we've triggered that release clause or anything like that, so I would be amazed if he's done a medical. But the club have done stuff right under our noses before, so you know, you could well be right, Junior, I could well be wrong. Cop Idol says Chester at the weekend, mate. First game of pre-season. What type of a team, Cop Idol, are you expecting the Reds to put out? It was brilliant that they're donating all the gate receipts, that Chester can keep all the gate receipts. Lovely gesture by the club. I said before, the club are very active and very helpful to the likes of, I don't want to speak down about the likes of Tranmere and stuff, but the club are very helpful to the surrounding smaller clubs, and that gesture to allow Chester to keep all the gate receipts from the game is another great thing from Liverpool Football Club. But let me know, what type of 11 are you expecting to put out? Mainly kids, I'd imagine. Where else have we got? Junior's heading off. Night, Junior. Nice to see you again, mate. Thank you for joining in and enjoy your evening. What else have we got here in the chat? Wow, I thought I'd caught up with the chat. It seems that I'm miles behind, so let me just fly through this quickly. Aaron says, with Fekir's brother signing a new contract, are Leon willing to sell Fekir to Liverpool? I'd imagine his brother isn't in any way related to the deal, so I'd say yes. I think Fekir is going to move on this summer one way or the other. Unless, of course, his medical is worse than any of us knew and no club will go near him because of his knee issues. But let's just wait and see. What else have we got? Jimenez signed a new Atletico contract. He's a great player, to be fair. He's a really, really good player. What else have we got? Montero for Colombia would be a good alternative to Fekir, while Barrios is a decent player as well. I think you mean Quintero, Lubac. Is that the guy you're talking about? The young guy who plays for River Plate? Finn says, thoughts on Kasper Schmeichel? Would he be a decent signing? I've seen a lot of people suggest Kasper Schmeichel, Finn, and if I remember, he's 31, 32, something around that mark. It will be a no for me, because every team he's played in has been the complete opposite style to how Liverpool have looked to play. I know Leicester did counter-attack at times, but they tended to sit deep and defend a lot more deeply than Liverpool do, and that Denmark team as well, they defend for their lives, and he's one of those keepers that has to take a shitload of time over his goal kicks and tries to kill time wherever possible. But he's from good stock, obviously. He's not a bad keeper, so don't get me wrong on that one. I'm not trying to say that he's not good enough. I just think maybe the time for Schmeichel would have gone. It might have been 4 or 5 years ago if you were going to take a chance when he left Man City. Junior says, any concrete links to Kasper or fans just linking him? I haven't seen any concrete links at all, mate. What else have we got? Louis says, Louis says, Leon coaching Nabil Fekir. If there's a possibility like with Liverpool, Nabil will certainly seize the opportunity once both parties agree. So he said he saw that earlier on. It's looking more and more like, I keep saying this, we keep talking about it. I thought tonight was going to be the first night we didn't actually have a big Nabil Fekir chat, but it seems you guys are just as invested in this contract or in this transfer as I am. What else have we got? A lot of people saying good night to the Junior. You're a popular man, Junior, and it's lovely to see you guys in here, by the way, to always supporting each other and being so nice to each other. It's great to see that we've created a little environment of Liverpool fans here. Craig, RIP to Olive Rowe. That's gone over my head, buddy. I'm really sorry. I don't mean to be at all disrespectful. Maybe somebody could fill me in on that one. You say a legend, but again, I apologise. That one's gone over my head. Gary McKenna says, I think the release clause with Shaqiri can be done in a very short time, a bit like Fabinho. You're absolutely right. I mean, if the release clause is there and Liverpool say, bang, there's whatever it is, 12.5 million quid, yeah, I think you're right. It could be done very quickly. Michael Ramsey says Shaqiri can't help Liverpool if they sign him. If they sign him to a 6, I don't know what this is, to 6 to 8. Liverpool will finish next season. No, we won't. That's absolute rubbish. We're not finishing 6 to 8 next season if we sign Shaqiri. If we don't sign Shaqiri, even if we were to start the season now with the squad that we have, there's no way this Liverpool team are finishing 6 to 8 next season. Not a hope in hell. We're too good to finish 6 to 8. I mean, look at the midfielders we've just signed for Fabinho and Keita. Keita on his own is good enough to propel us and almost guarantee us top 4, in my humble opinion. Lubac says Quintero. Yeah, I can imagine Montero, Quintero. I mean, mate, you know how I am with names, so there was no I wasn't slagging you off, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Apologies if you thought I was. Joseph Reardon says not bad but was poor tonight. I think you're talking about Quintero. He didn't have his best game. He looked like he'd burned out as well, to be fair. Randy says, good evening, Craig. Why is it that we're linked with Barca backup keeper all summer, as well as the young exciting winger from the Brazilian league, and we don't sign anybody? I think, Randy, you're going to see a goalkeeper come in. We spoke about this a little bit earlier on in the stream. There was a lot of talk today, very quickly on Twitter, especially around Cillessen. Peter Phillips came out and said that he thinks Liverpool are signing a keeper. Graham Kelly then came out and said that if you guys like thought Butland was bad, you're going to really hate who this keeper is. I've got no idea if these guys were talking about the young keeper Liverpool signed from Shamrock Rovers, or if we're talking somebody else. But Cillessen was a name that popped up really quickly in the chat, and it broke all around Liverpool Twitter. James Pearce then came out and said, to his knowledge, Liverpool have no interest in signing Cillessen from Barcelona. So I think we're still stuck at square one, but I'm absolutely convinced that, or maybe it's wishful thinking, but I'm convinced we're doing something behind the scenes. I said earlier on that I think Liverpool are saying none of their business will be done until after the World Cup. They kind of try and distract people while they go and get stuff done, or maybe want to work on different targets underneath the radar. But I'd be amazed if we don't sign a goalkeeper. I've said I'm worried that we're going to start the season with Karius, and that worry is on the back of my mind, but I'm trying to be positive. I'm trying to say to myself, Craig, they're going to get a goalkeeper. It's just a matter who that keeper is. And I'm not going to really start looking into the likes of Cillessen or anybody else, really, or judging them until I know if they're going to be a Liverpool player, because it's unfair of me to come on here and start slagging people off or bigging people up if they're really not going to come. So I kind of want to see some more concrete links to a goalkeeper, which we've seen really none of except for Alisson. Louis says, what number do you think Shaqiri will be? I've no idea what he'd be. Again, haven't got a clue. Absolutely, couldn't even tell you what number he played in at Stoke. So apologies, buddy. I've no idea. But somebody did make a shout the other night for giving Trent Alexander-Arnold number 23, and that I really liked. That would be a deadly move. I mean, him taking over from a shirt that Fowler has worn, that Jamie Carragher has worn. Yes, obviously Emre Can wore it, but he does seem like a number 23 to me. Cop Idol says Olive Rowe was going to Anfield for 70 years. Super grand fan, recently passed away. Well, obviously, I'm very sorry to hear that. And like you guys have said, rest in peace, Olive Rowe. 70 years gone supporting the Reds. I mean, that's amazing. She must have been some woman. She must have had some stories throughout her time of going to Anfield for 70 years. So, as you guys have all said, rest in peace, and obviously sincere condolences to the family. But what a life, 70 years supporting the Reds. She must have seen some scenes over the years and seen some players come and go from this magnificent football club. So yeah, rest in peace, Olive Rowe. 70 years, wow, that is just mad. 70 years. I mean, people, that's twice as long as most people spend in companies. I mean, 35 years service in a company usually, and you're off with a pension of 70 years. That's brilliant. That is dedication right there. So congratulations to her. Obviously not on passing away. I don't mean in that sense. I mean, I tip my hat to her for the 70 years supporting the Reds. That is dedication. Neil says an experienced centre-back is required. The Raptors just, again, reiterating about the 70 years, Olive Rowe. Her house was a total shrine. Bless her, at least she'll be able to see the matches for free now. Again, lovely sentiment, guys, and lovely to see you guys knowing and mentioning people that deserve immense respect and immense gratitude, I suppose, from Liverpool Football Club as well. 70 years supporting the Reds. That is absolutely amazing. Escapado says about a week ago there was an article implying Klopp was talking to an unnamed goalkeeper to determine his personality. I think that was in the Express, although they could have pulled that from somewhere else, so it could be wrong. But yeah, that intrigued me as well. Lubac says we bid for Lunin, so we're after a keeper. Didn't he sign for Real Madrid? Is that the guy that Real Madrid signed, that Lunin fella? Cop Idol says 23 for Trent was my shout, and it was an absolute belter, mate. I mean, I'm almost thinking of starting a campaign at this point. That's how much I like that show for Trent being number 23. Joseph says that Shaqiri wears 23 for country. Interesting. Louis says, I'd hate to see Jurgen Klopp get criticised if we keep Loris Karius and he makes a mistake for the first game back. Even gone past the first game, I just feel any minor thing he does will be exaggerated. And I've said earlier on, if he goes with Karius, it's probably the biggest support and the biggest gamble that he would have taken during his Liverpool managerial career. But like all of you guys, I back Jurgen Klopp. I believe and trust in Jurgen Klopp. So as much as I'd rather we buy another goalkeeper, if he decides to start with Loris Karius in goal, he will of course have my full support. If he decides to start with Simon Mignolet in goal, then we'll have to revisit this issue. Neil Anthony says an experienced centre-back is required for backup. What do you think of Granqvist? The Swedish captain would provide great cover. I mean, that guy is unbelievable for that Swedish team. I mean, that whole Swedish defence. Was Granqvist the guy who seemed to be on the end of absolutely every header that was cleared out of that Swedish box today? It's going to be very interesting to see how England attack that Swedish defence. They could go to, I mean, if they go in and try and play high balls into Harry Kane, it's going to be a struggle because those guys know how to defend deep. But even getting in behind Sweden, I can see being a problem for England. So very, very interesting quarter-final there for the English team. And congratulations again to them for getting through on penalties tonight. Like probably all of you guys, I'm delighted that they didn't go out after a Henderson miss. So well done to them, well done to Gareth Southgate and the lads, and they push on to the quarter-final, so maybe football might just be coming home. Lubac says Casper is way better than our current clowns. Kevin Smith says we need a top-class goalkeeper and another top-class centre-back. Louis says also apparently Dejan Lovren got hacked by a Liverpool fan. I seen something pop up earlier on in the chat when Dave and Connor was on about Lovren getting hacked. Did a tweet go out that shouldn't have? And I mean, did he put out an offensive tweet or something like that? Let me know, guys, because I haven't really been on Twitter much lately. A lot of my time these days is spent on here and doing podcast stuff, so I try and stay away from social media as much as I can. Ant says RIP Olive Rowe as well. 70 years. Jealous you saw us win the league. Again, 70 years. That is absolute commitment. Lubac says, did you see the beast that is Milner in training? Smashed everybody in the track work. Yeah, I think Connor said he won the bleep test or something like that in training. And he's some engine, Jimmy Milner, doesn't he? I mean, he just can run and run and run. Micah Ramsey says, you will see Liverpool doesn't have a defence. One defender can't win titles. Lovren, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Robertson, Klein, Matip aren't good enough to win anything. Bollocks. Absolute bollocks, Michael. That is, I'm sorry, mate. I try to be fair with what people say at times, but to come in and start slagging off Trent Alexander-Arnold, Andrew Robertson, and just say they're not good enough. I mean, Trent is 19 years of age, so to rule him out now is nonsense. And the same with Andy Robertson. I'm afraid I've got to disagree there, mate. Massively. I don't think we're just pinning our league hopes or our league wants on one defender in Virgil van Dijk. So, nah, sorry, mate. That's absolute nonsense. Louis says, Michael, you're lost. I don't know what's going on with Michael. Actually, do you know what? I don't even want to listen to his shite anymore. So, bye bye, Michael. Slán. Yeah, I couldn't listen to that anymore. He just seemed to be somebody who comes in intent on causing shite and trying to start rows. And we've a good atmosphere in here, guys. There's nothing wrong with disagreeing, but to come in and start slating players like that and say they're not good enough, will never win a league, a one-man defence is absolute nonsense. Louis says he was so worried when Hendo missed the penalty. And Cop Idol says the Cockneys national team has a shite record against Sweden. It's going to be a tough game for them. I mean, it really is. That's going to be a hard team to break down, and Sweden can certainly counter-attack as well. Emil Forsberg's a very good footballer, but look, England are capable, don't get me wrong, and I've no doubt that they're going to go into that game very confident. It'll also be interesting to see how Gareth Southgate utilises his squad, because I imagine there'll be a lot of fatigue after the 120 minutes plus penalties that they put in tonight. The Raptor says, first time I went to Anfield was in the 70s and it was 75p to get into the Kop after queuing. That is nuts. 75p to get into the Kop. That's crazy. I think it's inflated quite a bit since then, buddy. 75. Even to be able to queue up and get in. I mean, imagine that. Imagine being able to go to Anfield now on a match day and just pay at the turnstiles and get in. Max says Robertson, the best left back in the Premier League. The clown Michael. I don't know what was up with Michael. I don't know if he was a troll trying to disguise that he was a Liverpool fan or whatever, but I mean, he was just talking absolute nonsense. No doubt he'll be lashing the thumbs down but now in the behind the scenes to try and get our show down, but look, I don't care. I'm all for people coming in and making rational points or trying to raise rational. I mean, we've all got a player we dislike to an extent, but he was slating our entire defence for absolutely no reason. Sniper Jewel said Liverpool has great fullbacks in Trent Alexander-Arnold and Robertson. Kevin says Michael doesn't deserve to be on the chat if he's going to slag off Liverpool players. Well, he won't be anymore, so bye bye Michael. Ben says not football related, but just seen Darren Till post a picture of the Anfield sign. Would love to see him fight at Anfield like Billy did at Goodison. Yeah, he's if I remember correctly, and my knowledge of UFC or mixed martial arts is quite limited, but if I remember correctly, he's a light enough fighter. He's not a heavyweight. He's a young Liverpudlian mixed martial artist, isn't he? Who's very exciting as well. I think he's got a really good knockout ratio. I think he fought in Dublin at the last. I went to a mixed martial arts show in Dublin. Who was it again? The name of the crowd that did it? It wasn't the UFC, obviously. Bama. Yeah, I went to a Bama show because my wife is friends with, well, not, I would say friends, a stretch there. My wife knows Chris Fields quite well, so he sent us tickets to go along to a Bama show, and I think he might have been fighting on that Bama show, if I remember correctly. Finn says to rule out Solanke too is bad since he's a Golden Ball winner, and we know what happened to players that won the Golden Ball, the Under-20 World Cup, and how they went on to establish themselves on a world stage. And it's a very fair point. You can't argue with that. He was the top scorer in the tournament, and he certainly comes with a good record and a good reputation. It's just, my worry for him is, do Liverpool have an opportunity to be able to provide a platform for these players to develop if they don't hit the ground running immediately? And obviously I want to say yes to that, but just like we spoke about with Marko Grujic, it's almost that they have to be pushed out on loan and hope that they catch fire on loan and then bring them back. But Klopp does seem to have shown an awful lot of backing for Solanke, so we'll just wait and see what happens. He may well turn around. He got his goal at the end of the season, and he could turn out to be an absolute stunner of a centre forward. Finn says I got so obsessed about searching tweets about Shaqiri and Fekir that I totally wrote Fekir in the search bar. Or I literally wrote for Kieran. I've done that at times as well. I've just been so focused on one thing. I've just gone onto Twitter and just gone bang, bang, bang. This is what I want to know about. Goodbye. Do you know what I actually should do? I should make up some lists on Twitter as well for people that I want to just read their accounts. Because we follow, I think, 7,000 or 8,000 people on Twitter. So at times I just can't pull out the tweets I want to read. Escapado saying good night. So is Finn. Good night, guys. I'm going to head off myself in a couple of minutes. Alan Price, you're showing your age there, mate. Gary McKenna says, watch some old Dan the Beast Severn vids recently. Jesus, he was a UFC savage. Again, apologies, guys. It's not really my thing. Obviously, I jumped on the Conor McGregor bandwagon because I'm Irish and he's an unbelievable athlete, but boxing is much more my thing. That's what I was raised on watching. Right, is there anything else? What else have we got? Do I like Conor McGregor? I absolutely love Conor McGregor. I love that he doesn't give a fuck. I love that he does what the hell he wants, and I love how he created this persona and sold it to the world and has done what he's done. I mean, I don't care if he never fights again. The dude is after going and making over $100 million from being on the dole. He deserves immense respect. And knocking out Aldo in 13 seconds, it was unbelievable. So fair play to Conor McGregor. I'm a big Conor McGregor fan, but let's just wait and see what happens to him. I'd like to see him go back to the UFC and have another fight or two, but I completely understand if he doesn't. Lots of people heading off for the night, so you know what, this may well be the right time for us all to say goodnight. Steve is saying that Alan will be 40 by the time he gets a work permit. Joseph is heading off for the night. Jamal is saying Alan De Souza is his name, I think, the young Brazilian guy. He was at training as well. Neil says, what do you think of the Neville brothers slagging off Shaqiri? With Phil, I don't care because I don't listen to that, and that fucking idiot says. But with Gary, I would imagine that he's looked into a little bit more. But I guarantee you, if United were looking into signing Shaqiri, his attitude would be a little bit different. Gary says McGregor is basically the Stone Cold Steve Austin of the UFC. And says, share this fantastic content, up the Reds. Exactly as Anta said there. If you have enjoyed it, if you haven't given us a thumbs up, just please do take a second and hit that button. You know what, if you haven't liked it, if you unenjoyed it or you thought it was shit tonight, by all means hit the thumbs down button. I'm not encouraging it, but you know, you've got to be fair. And of course, if you're watching this stream, you're watching it on playback, you have enjoyed it, you haven't yet subscribed, lots of interesting content coming up, please do hit that subscribe button. It's going to be a good night for me, guys. Thankfully I was able to do the full stream tonight and I didn't have to wuss off sick like I was last night. Great to have Connor and Dave on earlier on. Massive thank you to them for joining us, but mostly to you guys. Night after night after night, you tune in, you join the streams, you give us great input, you teach us things about players. It's been an absolute pleasure, guys, as always, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Up the motherfucking Reds.